What's up, guys? Try to make this short and sweet. I know I'm going a little overboard with the lightning thematics, but let's have some fun with it. This is just going to be a quick explanation of the rules and format for the post-up tournament series that's starting here. Probably February 1st is the ideal kickoff date. But we're taking signups right now. We have 3 different brackets that you can apply for. Those are the Fargo Caps right there, 469 and under, 544 and under, 619 and under. So you'll be playing people at or near your skill level. It's about a 75-point Fargo spread for each group, okay? I'm just going to click over to the rules and format PDF real quick here. And let's just go through it together, guys. So let's get rid of this and this. And this. Nope, we'll keep that. This one. Here we go. Boom. Okay, let's just read through things real quick, and I'll just kind of explain things a little bit more in depth than is on this page here. So the Post-Up Tournament Series is aimed to create a brand new economy within our game by becoming an exciting new way for players to compete against other players at or near their skill level for big prize money on a regular basis. Tournaments will occur over roughly a 2-month period, with the first few rounds being scheduled and played at a date and location that is convenient for both players. What I mean by that is, for the first few rounds, until we get down to the big pay jumps at the end, every round of the bracket is going to be over a 2-week period where you'll get your opponent's phone number, you'll reach out to them, tell them your preferred game. If both you have the same preferred game, then you play that game. And if not, then you spin a wheel to decide what game you're going to play. And you do it at your own convenience. You have 2 weeks to complete your match and then report the results. And then we half the field because it's a long race, single elimination format. You can see right there. We half the field because it's single elimination. And then we redraw random again and do the same thing over and over until we get down to usually the final 8. If it's a 16-player bracket, it's going to be the final 4. But it gives the players the freedom. Well, I'll just continue reading this. This is designed not only to allow flexibility of participation, but also to eliminate the long wait times and late nights of the traditional 1 or 2 day weekend formats. A further advantage of this model is that it incentivizes and allows time for improvement between matches. That's huge right here. It is intended that some players are going to use this tournament format to light a fire under their ass so that they'll get out there and practice and actually try to work on improving their game instead of staying about the same like current leagues basically incentivize you to do. BCA, APA, if you improve and your handicap changes, all of a sudden you've put your team out and now they have to change their plans for how they play things week by week. I mean, if you're in those leagues, you understand what I'm talking about. So anyway, let's move on. Overview, single elimination, long race format. You can see the races here, depending on which game you play. And as I've already described, the default way to select the game is to lag. The player winning the lag earns the first break and will spin this wheel. There's a URL right here. Takes you to this. You click the link, you click the wheel, and it tells you what game you're going to play. In this instance, we rolled 8-ball. So back to the rules. If players can cordially agree which game to play with absolutely no coercion, then the agreed upon game will be selected. So like I said, the best way to do that is just keep in mind what your preferred game is. When you reach out to schedule with your opponent, say, hey, my name's Collins. We're going to be playing. I prefer to play 9-ball. They might say, well, I prefer to play 10-ball. If one of you says, yeah, I'm cool with 9-ball or 10-ball or whatever, then that's no coercion. But if one guy wants to play 8-ball and the other person wants to play 9-ball, and they say, well, I really like 8-ball. I mean, I really am not a 9-ball player. It's like, now the coercion's starting to happen. So you just got to spin the wheel to find out what game you're going to play. Practice all the games. Yeah. This is going to help everyone get better at all the games, too. Anyway, entry fee, $235. That might be a big number for some people. In my opinion, the only reason that number is big for some people, other than the fact that I know that personal financial life broadly dictates a lot of people's ability to get involved with things like this. I completely understand that. But in general, $235 would be a huge entry fee for the vast majority of players, because the vast majority of players have never had a reliable chance to cash in a tournament. Now, we're all playing at or around the same skill level, so you have a real chance to win some money. So that's why we made the entry fee a little bit bigger. $200 goes to the prize pool. The $35 on top is allocated as follows. $5 each goes to custom jerseys for the finalists and semifinalists. You'll see that in the pay structure below. $750 per player is going to go as green fees for the Final 8 Throwdown, the day where we play all the big pay jumps together at Hard Times or another hosting pool hall. The first one's going to be at Hard Times. That's going to go towards green fees. And then $22.50 of it is going to go towards tournament management and operation expenses. Obviously, I would like to be a little bit compensated for my time, ideally. But then a portion of this is going to go towards me, like offering services to people that I'll describe later in the bracket. Once you're drawn into a bracket, there will be no refunds or of entry fees, no exceptions. So once the draw takes place. The brackets are all going to be Fargo Capped. I've already described that. 75-point intervals. Above the number that's drawn. So once this session is over, we're going to draw another Fargo Cap for the next session. It's going to be done live on stream at the end of the Final 8 Throwdown. And you'll see we're going to draw a number between 1 and 100 on random.org, something like this. We are human. 1 and 100 generate. Boom, 14. So in this instance, the next session would be 414, then 75 points above that, then 75 points above that, then 75 points above that. That's how we decide what the Fargo Caps are. Oops, let's go back to here. Moving on. All brackets will be 16, 32, 64, 128 players. Buys would be way too advantageous. So I'm filling brackets. So what that means is if they're entry is first come, first serve, with overflow players giving entry priority into the next session. If there are 45 players in a group, and a 32-player bracket will be drawn, 13 players, and for 13 players who signed up at the latest, will be placed on a priority waitlist for the next session. These players can either have their entry fees refunded or leave them with post-up as a prepayment for the next session. Hope that makes sense. Player eligibility and selection. The main thing I want to say here is, if we don't know you and you're not active in the Northern California pool community, and I can't get like a bunch of people to vouch for your skill level, you need 400 games of Fargo. Some exceptions may apply. Like I said, if there's somebody that plays in APA and doesn't have a ton of games ranked in Fargo, but we know that they're the right person for the right group, then we'll allow them to play. But if you're somebody that we haven't met, just submit your 6-month Fargo rate graph and show that you have at least 400 games of robustness. You can see that here. We'll just pick somebody at random. This is what it looks like. I can see here that Brian Hart has a rating of 510, 914 robustness. His Fargo has not really changed over the last 6 months. So we can tell that he's been doing about, competing about the same. We can go back and see his recent matches. He only submitted 5 of them. They're only 1 game apiece, but at least we can tell that he's been having games put in the last 6 months, right? 12, 16, 20, 24. You can see that he's been active, so that looks like a legit Fargo to me, and that's how we're going to deal with that. Moving on. Last thing in this player eligibility and selection, players who cash for more than $1,000 in any tournament will have their Fargo rate artificially increased within this tournament series by 0.75% of the prize amount for the next 6 months. For example, if you cash for $4,000, that means you're going to get a 30-point Fargo rate increase for the next 6 months, just within post-up tournament series. It's not going to actually change your Fargo, but I'm going to keep a record. So basically, we can't have somebody farming tournaments, I guess. It's going to force people to improve if they want to keep cashing. If you get lucky that the next Fargo rate draw is within the same 10 points as the tournament you just played, it's like, well, you might end up in the next one. That's what that's designed for. Match scheduling. Players' names will be entered into digital pool and randomly drawn on live on post up. Players will contact their opponents and schedule matches within a 2-week period. A redraw occurs after each round, and the process starts anew until the Final 8 Throwdown. The Final 8 Throwdown will be live streamed at Hard Times Billiards. I've pretty much explained all of that. All matches must be played on a 9-foot table. No exceptions. I don't care where you play. As long as it's on a 9-foot table, I would recommend that you don't play on buckets because if you get in the habit of playing on buckets and you come to hard times when the big pay jumps happen, it might not be good for you. So you might want to play on tables as close as possible to what are here, but I understand that that's not possible for everybody. So there will be some meeting in the middle, so to speak. So if somebody signs up from Fremont and they end up drawing someone from Yuba City, maybe you want to meet at hard times. If you, if we get enough players from like the Fresno area that we include Fresno, and they draw someone from Sacramento, maybe you want to meet in Stockton or somewhere in between like that. There will be some driving. Just do your best to meet in the middle. Remote match guidelines. This is a little bit too specific, so we'll skip it. If players desire to have any matches before the Final 8 Throwdown streamed on Post Up, at hard times you can submit a request directly to me. The selection and approval of matches to be streamed will mostly be on a first-come, first-served basis. However, priority can be changed at the discretion of the Post Up chat and Discord, or if a specific matchup promises to be exceptionally entertaining. Basically, what I mean by that is I reserve the right, if I have to make the choice between, just something that I think would be more entertaining for the viewers at home, I will probably default to that. But I'm going to try to be as inclusive as possible to all skill levels in that, getting the matches streamed. It is highly recommended to record your matches. Guys, go out and get like a small mount for your cell phone or something like that, like a $10 thing on Amazon, so that you can record your matches. This aids in resolving disputes and discourages poor sportsmanship. If someone knows that they're being recorded, they're going to think twice before being a dick or trying to angle shoot their opponent and pretend that they didn't see something. Just record your matches. It's going to be super beneficial for you and protecting you guys as your players or in your matches. So also, if you record your match from an angle that we can clearly see the action on the table, you can submit your video to be reviewed on stream, where we can talk through game theory and help everyone improve at the game together. So I'm going to create an avenue for people to do that. These are the payouts for each bracket. You can see, even at a 16-player bracket, the champion's going to win $1,000 or over $1,000. And then as the brackets increase, obviously the prizes increase as well. These are some big numbers. Hopefully on a regular basis we can start getting 64-player brackets, every 2 months. That would be awesome to have everybody able to compete for, $3,000-4,000 every 2 months. It'd be very, very fun. I'm going to host the whole thing, so I'm going to be reaching out to make sure that players are able to contact their opponents. That's another reason why we have everybody's cell phone numbers going in here. We can see it's all listed right here. I'm tracking all that stuff. So, let's go back to this. These are the rules for each game. If you haven't played 8-ball, 9-ball, or 10-ball, it's pretty standard stuff. Or if you don't know the standard WPA rules, the only things that are specific to this tournament is it's cue ball fouls only. It's pretty common in California. Call pocket. It's not take what you make on the break. You have to make something after the break to determine your group in 8-ball. No golden breaks in 9-ball. That is specific to this format. I just don't want to get into that when people are playing on their own. Oh, I didn't know it was no golden breaks, or sorry. Oh, I didn't know it was only specific pockets or whatever. Just no golden breaks in either rotation game. Both of them are 3-foul rule. Handicaps is a big one. If the Fargo rate difference between you and your opponent is greater than 50 points, the weaker player gets a 2-game spot. Once we get down to the Final 8, it's a 3-game spot, because once we get down to the Final 8, or the big pay jump, the final day, the race lengths increase. Worth noting. This is really just in here in case it has to be. I don't think we're going to run into this issue. Just don't angle your opponent by playing absurdly slow. Headphones and earbuds. User forfeits the right to contest calls. So if you're wearing headphones or earbuds, you don't have the right to contest a call that your opponent makes. So you might want to think twice before wearing headphones. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Yeah. If anybody experiences something where they are having a problem with their opponent, I would suggest that you do your best to resolve or diffuse the situation in the match and try to finish the match. And then hopefully you were recording the match, so you can submit that directly to me, and then I can make a call. If they were totally out of line, then maybe I'm going to forfeit that person. Like, don't be a dick. We don't want those people in our tournaments. We want to make sure that we're all here to compete and be, we're all doing the same thing. We get it. We all want to win, but at what cost? Like don't be a dick. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully everybody understands. I really think that, this scheduling over... I'm really excited to see what people will do with their games when they know, hey, I won my first round. I only have to win one more to make the money in a 64-player bracket. After winning 2 rounds, you're in the money. It's like, man, I'm really going to work on my game these next 2 weeks and play the Mighty X and, shoot 500 Mighty X shots this week so I can really get in line and hopefully play well in my next match. I hope that this will encourage people to improve and get people excited about playing the game. So... let's see how far we went. Well, it was 15 minutes. Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, to apply. Just go to... You can either go to bit.ly or tinyurl / Putts rules. Putts app. And it takes you to this page, and this is where you apply. Yeah, go check it out on Facebook / post up. And yeah, get involved, guys. It's going to be fun. Hopefully that answered questions for people that were reading the rule set and didn't really understand something. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. I know that this was a very raw video, but that's my style, so... Hopefully we'll see you guys in the post-up tournament series streets, and we'll have some fun. See you guys later.